What's happening, everybody? Here for the HMB live show on this lovely Tuesday. It's really nice out, and you're cutting into my tanning time, Ryan. So got to keep it quick.
Well, you're lucky you have a yard to go tanning. So
that's true. That's true. I can't complain with that. But yeah, it's just the tanning right now is like 50. No kid. Like I have surgically, precisely figured out the tanning degrees, the wind factor as to what you can potentially lay out there and handle. And if you live in the Northeast, you can handle no wind, 55 degrees, and you will get hot enough to tan. So I'm sure this is really important information for people watching this right now. So we are.
It gives me time to share it, so it's good.
Yeah. So we're hopefully Melissa Greer. She emailed me prior to starting the show that she'll be hopefully jumping on here shortly. She is quite an accomplished realtor broker in the North Carolina market. So we're gonna hang tight. If she can get on in time, great. Then we'll loop her in, and if not, then we're doing an open mic today. So let's jump right into a good topic for open mic. The New Jersey gym.
You're gonna start right there.
Yeah, let's go. What do we got? What's the background? You talk about it. You looked it up.
All right, so we saw yesterday that there was a gym in Belmar that was basically announcing, saying we are opening tomorrow, despite Governor Murphy's orders saying gyms cannot be open. So they did it. They opened. They had a support of the township. I was just going off the video I saw, maybe 30 people there. Not using the gym, just going to support them in their opening. And that was it. They opened. The police showed up. Just from the video, you could tell tensions were high. But the police, I thought, did an amazing job. They came in. They spoke with the owner. This is all on camera. They just said you are outside, or you're operating outside of Governor Murphy's executive order. Here's your citation. And they literally turned around and said to everyone, "Have a nice day," and left.
So I just pulled up the gym opening defiance thing. So yeah, I was actually thinking about that this morning in my head. This is not the gym defiance. This is a dumb commercial. But I was thinking in my head, I'm like, all right, so it's a standoff, right? Because at this point, any companies that do this are going to gain national news, right? We saw in Texas that it puts them on a national stage, and so the governor, then it makes them look bad. Makes them look terrible, right? It makes the governor look terrible. Like, the people don't like him and so forth. So it's a really delicate decision for the governor's standpoint. So I'm sure they sent people over. Oh, they did issue a summons. They're being issued a summons?
Citation. They were
getting the citation. Gotcha. Obviously, I thought they were not going to do that. But so the thing with that is the governor probably said, go issue the citation. We want no, keep it as low key as possible, like no incidences, right? Like he said, how do we uphold this but not do it? He's trying not to incite the people into anger, and the gym is ready for it, right? The gym is saying, bring it. That's why they're doing this. So the question is, where do we go next, right? So the initial
today was round 2.
Okay, so round 2 is today. What's going on with that?
It already happened. So and what they're probably showing here is Governor Murphy saying it's not going to be the same response tomorrow. We have to set an example, and he's basically threatening them. But he also ended it saying, but we also can't start World War III. So the police showed up today, and basically the same exact thing happened. So I am personally giving props to the police, because they're basically saying, I don't care what you say, Governor Murphy, I'm not doing anything towards the civilians I protect, right? So
I hope that's what's going on. That would be awesome if that's what the police are doing.
It's what they did today. They did the same thing. They came by, gave them the citation, and left. It was the same exact thing. Everybody was cheering. It's an interesting crowd of people that are surrounding.
Not gym goers, not gym going type people.
No, they are gym. So everyone's looking to fight. Everyone's like, come on, bring it on.
It's a tough guy crowd.
It's a tough guy crowd.
for everybody listening, there's a very good chance that the police that are there are likely trained in like jujitsu or some other type of anything that they'll like. So what I've always found about gym goers is that like 99% of them have their physical appearance has no impact other than they could like throw you up in the air, but they have no ability to defend themselves or fight. So if they're trying to get that fight, you know, they're going to look really bad because you can put they're going to show everybody, come to my gym, put all these muscles on, and then get beat up by police officers. But it's really good on the police to, so the question to me, I wonder, is the order, with police, like, did that come from the governor, or did that, did the police make that decision? Like, holy cow, if the police made that decision to say, this is how we're handling it, that would be,
I have to believe it's the police because
that's great.
Just because of what I'm hearing from the governor. But, I mean, the truth is it's an insane time right now that we're even having this conversation. Like right now we're watching. So it's always, there's always a fear of if the police fear your people or your people fear your police, things are offset, right? US has not faced that. I think possibly in our entire history, 200 plus years.
No, we did. I was actually talking to, there are definitely incidences where we've done that. I mean, let's back up with that statement real quick, because you have like, every single black person watching this would go, what are you talking about? Like the entire rights movement was them being, and they have every right to feel that way.
Yeah.
That time. So, but, as far as like what you're trying to achieve, what in theory the civilization or civil culture is trying to achieve, that balance that you're suggesting. Sometimes we do it better than others.
Yeah. So you're right in terms of civil liberties and things like that. I mean, you're right. We've gone through that many times in our history. I think what I was trying to say is like we've never had the like literally the government, like your government officials versus the people. Kind of like a power battle rather than like a civil liberties, which is super important. I'm not trying to say not, but this is like, it's different. It's different. Something that's literally the people, everyone, all civilians against like a government.
Well, and I actually don't look at the police as, so like in those incidences that we've talked about in the past, I mean, there's other ones that have been like politically charged and then the police get in over their heads with it. But like this specific one is like the police are in the middle. Police are being used as the governor's strong arm, right? Mm-hmm. That's what's being happened. So this particular scenario is the governor is, can this one man sitting in his chair, like flip the switch the way he is and do what he's doing. And that power struggle is like, it's just jockeying for position is what it feels like. Like, it's like,
exactly.
Who's pull our pants down and see who's bigger. Like, that's what it feels like, right? That it doesn't feel like it's for the benefit of the people, for the safety of the people, even though they're claiming that does not feel like what this is by any stretch of the means. It's going, you're playing chicken. They're playing chicken. The gym owner's playing chicken with the governor. And, it is terrible for citizens to do that with their government. I think it's, and I think the one thing that people always talk about, or you hear like in movies or wherever, that, perception of power, power is perception. So like, from a physical standpoint, the civilians outnumber like, military or police by like 500 to 1 or something. It's crazy, right? Or 50, I don't know what it is. It's some crazy number. So the perception of power is really what is being, flexed here. Mm-hmm. And on both sides. And I think, I get what the governor has to do here, and I get why he's put in a hard place. But I also want to say, the governor has to assume responsibility for the reason that we're in this place to begin with, and find a better way out of it. So, like, you can't just keep digging your feet in the sand and saying, oh, we'll lock down this, lock down longer. You've got to assume responsibility for the decisions you've made, in my opinion, and then have a plan that's going to show a way to get back. Now, I guess technically that's what we're supposed to be doing. It's just, if it's not a plan that is strong enough for the people, this is what you see.
Right.
So
I'm rooting for the gym goers. I think I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are.
Everybody is. If you're a civilian in this freaking country and you value your liberties, you're not thinking stay locked down. You're crazy. You're not crazy. You're, there was a lady yesterday. I was taking my kids for a walk with Anne, and she didn't have a mask on, but she when she walked by us, and we're outside, we're like 10 feet apart. She pulled her, shirt up over her face and like walked by and like looked away. And I don't think that people act like that. I don't look at them and go, oh man, what do you like? I don't get mad at them for disregarding like civil liberties. I look at them and go, man, the fear that you're living in right now has to be tremendous. Like, because I'm not scared I'm not scared of the situation at this point at all. And I'm not provoking the virus to try to say, give it to me. But at the same time, I look at that and go, man, like the fear that has been brought down upon people right now is over the top. And,
I mean, we've talked about this because I think you and I have different perspectives, which is good and healthy, right? Like as I say, you need to respect the virus more. And it's okay that you don't. Like, we balance each other out, I think, as a society, right? Like, it's probably good that we didn't just not do anything, right? It probably did protect us. But at the same time, it's probably good that we have people such as yourself or Larry, if he's watching this, actively promoting, saying, "Hey,
I'm not the same as Larry. No. I'm a little different. No, because I don't disagree with you that something should be done. I don't disagree that, I just think at this point, I don't disrespect the virus itself. I just think we've got enough information on as to what should be happening. So I think we actually have two different scenarios at play here. One is opening back the country. Like, there's like two different things. One is protect the civilians. The other is opening the country. And I don't really think at this point that they're the same thing. I think they're different. Or at least opening back up has turned into a different monster. At some point, you're like, right now you think in your head, like, what do we, like, you first go, we got to open up. And you go, what do we got to open up for again? Oh yeah, this virus thing. Like, that's what you're kind of like, the general public in my mind is thinking. Like, the open up is more of like the headline than it is the virus. Whereas like 6 weeks ago, like it was totally the opposite. Right. So I think that's the stage that we've kind of reached. I'm not as, I think like in terms of like my balance level, it really has to come down to the difference between the danger of the virus and like my own liberties of saying, like, at what point do I go like, okay, like I would rather have the virus, this, that, and the other. I'd rather die than lose these XYZ liberties, right? Like what point does a person say that? I'm not at that point. Some people are. And I think that's maybe where you were with like.
Well, yeah, I mean, the people who are saying like, hey, I'm trying to feed my family and I'm trying not to be a criminal. What are my options? Like, literally, what are their options?
That's true, right? That is true. You go, I'm trying to be a good civilian and I want my liberties I want the right to work, which is crazy. I want the right.
Right.
Like, it's so weird because everybody always complained about work. Everybody always complained about, getting to the weekend. And now it's like, we want, people want to work, which essentially feeds the machine of the people that locked this down to begin with. So there's like this really weird, it's like a dog that wants back in its cage feeling. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be in my cage, but let me back in the cage. Let me back in the cage. And it's a really bizarre thing to want, right?
I mean, I highly doubt these people want to work just for the sake of working. I think it's more they need to provide for their families and themselves, right? That's different.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
So, I mean, these gym guys, good on them for being the first. I do hope they get, GoFundMe kind of stuff. You should be, for being the pioneers. It's a modern day patriot, as I guess is what it could be.
I mean, you take the risk. That they're taking the big risk. So
they're willing to go to jail. They are like they're willing to go. So
yeah, I think that's and I think you see more and more stands of it now. I do think the general, we're always like gauging social media for the direction. It's funny. I was just listening to a very famous guy in the stock markets who went around and interviewed like 50 famous stock guys, right? Like, and what do they have in common and stuff like that. Well, I was just listening to one of his interviews yesterday, and he said that, they said, has the market changed over the past 200 years? And he said, no, but the structure has. He goes, I have one of the top traders in there, and what he does is he trades off of social media.
Yeah, somebody's made a system. We theoretically said you could make a system.
You could do it. You could do it. Yeah. And he said you couldn't do that 200 years ago, obviously. So things like that have changed. And I'm like, oh, we thought of this. This is like a thing. And, he's one of the top 50 traders this guy interviewed. So they legitimately are making a killing on, trading off social media. So social media has like this feel to it, an organic, sense where if you don't let yourself get wrapped up in whatever message it's trying to put out to you, and you like take the whole of it, which is what we've been doing with this whole thing, is gauging social media. And I think at this point, the social media flux is, moved towards, I think we're in a transition between forget about the virus and into we're starting to battle with China again. Like we're in this like flux of like headlines, and like something's going to happen with the China thing. Like they're going to like blow up a ship or something in the, or do something that's going to just zip everybody's attention over to that scenario. And, and then I think probably around September, November, December, we're going to see October, November, December, we're going to see first trials of the vaccine for that coronavirus have been released, and the results are great. And they're like, oh yeah, the coronavirus, forgot about it. I feel like that's where we're going right now. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying there. I think there's too much time between now and elections to have nothing happen. So they gotta fill something in. It's like with the sports season, like during the season, it's easy to fill time, right? So they're gonna have to fill something in for the off season until elections.
Right. Yeah. So the question will be, what are they going to use to fill the gap? Hopefully it's not too bad.
Hopefully not bad. Yeah.
Too bad. Yeah. I think Melissa is trying to join us. She just emailed me and said, can you send me the link? So I just sent her the link back. Hopefully she'll be able to talk to us. I'm curious. She's actually in where our mother lives in North Carolina. Yeah.
Raleigh there?
I don't know if she's near exactly where she lives, but she is. Let me see if I can get her. There's her website. But so I'm curious to know what that market is like, actually, because technically we have a stake in that game. So I'd like to kind of hear what she has to say about it. I'm guessing just from talking with Mom that it's probably not. It's not too bad. Like it's not. It doesn't seem. I don't know. Have you heard from her in terms of like what they're like down there right now? I knew at one point they were in the news though. At one point, North Carolina was pretty heavily in the news.
Well, I find it very interesting how political this has become so quickly, in the sense of like, if you're a blue state, you're locked down right now. If you're a red state, you're open. So I actually don't know what North Carolina is. So I'd be curious to know, are they heavily locked down? Like, all of Pennsylvania can't do real estate. That's insane. So I don't know what North Carolina's governor is doing.
Yeah, my guess is it's probably a Republican-based state, if I had to guess. So whatever Republicans are doing, I don't know. Whatever Republicans do, Republicans are trying to open up, right? That's what the Republican push is right now.
Yeah. They flip. It's so funny how they flip flop. They don't. It's just
it's timing. It's all timing. Yeah, it's all timing. Right? It's just like timing for the election. It's just, I hope one thing comes out of all this. One thing that I think we could all generally say, if people could be sick of their politicians and just be like, I'm sick of politics. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to watch another presidential race. I don't want that anymore. It's like, I'm tired of it. Right. So just like, I don't know if you remember when I had talked about the, like the end of a cycle, when you have a cycle pushing through, that the time that you kind of feel like you've bottomed out is when you're sick of the reason you're there. Like you just don't want to hear about it. You don't want to be around it. You don't want to say the word. And that's what happened in real estate.
Real estate, yeah.
Yeah, that was the word, because it was technically, So it's basically a scenario where
you're hoping that happens with politics. I mean, that would be awesome from my opinion, but I think you're fighting the news media and people who don't feel the same as we do towards politics.
Yeah, I guess I can only hope, because it's really, I still stand by that, politics in general are just sports for people that don't like sports. That's
it is. It really is. You got a team.
Choose your side. just as passionate as crazy, Eagles fans. I don't care who's watching this. Like, they're just as insane. So all the characteristics are there of people in sports teams. So people that don't like sports, that can't relate to it, you go, this is what it's like, So, honestly, what's up, Harvey? And it's like, in my opinion, it's like, it really has the same relevance to this world as like a sports game does. Like, it's just the same impact. It's like, you talk about it for a week, next game comes up. So instead of the game, you have the next
whatever the media,
whatever we need to talk about. Yeah. Whatever thing you need to get charged about.
This is like the World Cup. The coronavirus is like the World. It's like once every 4 years.
Yeah.
Something this big happens.
Yeah, who's gonna win? And then you get nervous for the big game. Instead of nervous, it's just sheer fear. That's like but that's what it feels like. It literally feels like. I don't think actually Melissa. I don't know. I sent her the link again. I'm not sure that she's going to join, but so maybe we'll have to reschedule with her. So. But yeah, so I don't know what the next World Cup will be. It really feels like that inevitably, whether it's, I can't imagine the next World Cup isn't just the dollar being destroyed. Like, I don't know. Like, every time we've done this, we've printed money since actually 1990. I think is when Greenspan started doing that. It was like just printing money to like prop up the economy or whatever. That was like that was the muscle of the Fed. We've been saying that for every time they do it. Like, this is the one, the dollar's gone. It can't happen.
You're right. You're going to ruin the market. Yada, yada.
Yeah. And then they just keep printing until, so I actually, if I'll just do like a really wild speculation, and I kind of have been saying this for like 2 years in regards to like, I have been saying, and I'm not saying like because I'm right, because I sure as hell don't know any more than anybody else. But like the one thing that kind of made sense to me, a virus didn't make sense to me in terms of that wasn't something on my radar, but currency has been, and it's happened multiple times where like a currency has been devalued or eliminated really fast. Like the biggest one was Harvey says, what do you think of cryptocurrency? If they can, Ryan will answer that question in just a second, but currency has been like a thing that they've tested that with, or it's been tested in cultures. And one of them that I think about is India, when they eliminated instantly anybody that had a cash value. So I don't know if you know this background of this, but in India, I don't know what he's called, but like essentially the president of India had all of Congress. He brought them all into a room and made all of them leave their cell phones outside, so nobody knew what was about to happen. And then he called that all denominations above, essentially in America would be $100 bills, have no value any longer right now, no more value. And what he didn't want to have is any of the people in the room tipping other people off. So they all he basically confined them in a room in a jail, put their cell phones outside so he could get the news out so nobody could hide money. They needed to get ahead of people hiding, taking money, going to the bank, depositing it, whatever, and then having like the currency there. So it was their attempt to eliminate corruption because there was so much cash corruption, they were saying, in India. But this happened. This happened overnight. Could you imagine right now if Trump was like, all right, we locked down Congress, we locked down the Senate, everybody's in a room, and here's the announcement: every dollar bill you have over 20 is worthless. Set it on fire. Like, and that, something like that's insane. But that's like the actual physical fight of something like that, a devaluing of currency. Whereas like, the other thing is like really more like what's happening in the financial wars, which people don't understand. I have a loose concept of how it works, but like another country, which I'm pretty sure this is going to come up with China, if it continues the way it is, they have probably been accumulating massive amounts of our dollar over the last 20 or 30 years. Like, why even fire a bullet? Just dump the money and either send it one way or the other against the world. That's a real possibility to me. And you could do that probably within I don't know how much time it would take to liquidate a position like that to when people figure out that it's happening, because then the people would stop buying it at that point. But like, I'm pretty sure it can be done extremely quickly, and all of a sudden the value of the dollar is gone. I don't really know how that works in the back end. So what are your thoughts, Rye? And talk to Harvey about cryptocurrency.
I don't have any thoughts on the currency stuff. I mean, it's just so far beyond what I know. And since it's no longer just like, well, if I have a gold, it's worth X amount of coin. Once you leave that, you're just making things up as you go. Like, you can make up whatever rules you want, and it's insane that that's legal, but
it's not legal. It's just based on like every denomination of anything is based on what the consumer thinks it's worth. That's it. It's the trust the consumer has in that object. So if like you want to, today, if like, mugs, Irish mugs become, what you believe, if I'm like, right, look, I need you to do this chore, right? Or whatever the hell it is. And then you're like, well, how much you pay me? You're like, I'm going to give you 2 mugs. Right. And then you go, that sounds like it's a good mug, is a fair deal. Great. Whatever that value you placed on that is your trust in the exchange for the service. That is all. That's what gold essentially was too. We just believed that gold provided that value exchange that was then backing this piece of paper. But that's all it is. Like, you go, okay, my value for this was this much gold.
Which is the same thing for crypto. It's the same thing for crypto. Like people have always been asking that, like, should I move all my money to crypto? And the answer is it's no different than saying, should I move all my money to
trees, wood?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say another country's currency, but yes, exactly. It's you have to do the research of the specific item, and then you have to know it. Could be oil still, even though oil is negative right now. Maybe now's the best time to go into oil. I don't know. That's not what I'm saying. But it's crypto is no different. It's no different than any other beast. Now, what I'm personally looking for in crypto is a crypto that's information based. Because right now I feel like everything that's coming out there is just like anybody's saying, hey, I made a new crypto where you can exchange for video game dollars. It's like, does that have any value to society? I don't know. I'm waiting for one that comes out here that's based on information, which I'm not aware of. I don't believe it exists yet.
Gotcha. So right now you feel like on the crypto front that we're just trading thin air, and on the back, like it's being backed by thin air essentially, as opposed to like something of value.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily thin air, but it's like, imagine if we landed on an asteroid and it just has 100 different minerals that we've never seen before. We literally have no idea. It could be useful to us, could be absolutely useless to us, but we're still trading them. Right? Like, we don't know the value of them yet, but we're still going to trade it. So
it's just perceived value.
Perceived value, yeah. So I'm waiting for one of those minerals to be identified as useful to us.
Right. Okay.
Bitcoin, like, all of them argue that they are in certain ways right now. All of them do. Bitcoin's like, we're here for security. Well, the truth is, if a quantum computer comes out, you can go through all the Bitcoin security in like 5 seconds. So that could negate Bitcoin overnight. So something like that can happen. But you could say the same thing about gold, in the sense of gold is used as a conductor. It's also used as jewelry, but its main scientific purpose is a conductor. If you find a metal that is more conducive than gold, and gold is no longer the jewelry that we desire, overnight it's gone, right? So it can happen with anything.
Well, like the perception of diamonds, right? Diamonds were a made-up industry. Still made up. Still are. Yeah, still are. It's a made up industry. As you like swallow and you're like, I just, like, because you have to, you got to buy somebody, pay 10 grand for this. Diamonds are the best example modern day best example I can think of just completely perceived value that, like you said, there's no like actual tool used for it. And if somebody decides tomorrow that sapphires are the new diamonds and everybody believes it, diamonds are going to plummet in value. So you're actually looking for something of like actual. Now, does it have to be tangible to you, do you think, or does it have to be like informational in terms of, I don't know, does it be like, yeah, what do you think?
No, because it's all going digital. I do think the future is digital, and we're basically going to live in a virtual world in like another 100 years. But that's
so what's the thing? What thing can make it then in the digital world so valuable that it has to be?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't think it exists yet. That's what I'm trying to say, is that I don't think we have found the crypto that is going to be the market. Like, everyone, because right now nobody wants to go off of your government's dollar and gold standard over to crypto. There's a huge fight between the government and the people, right? I don't think it exists yet. That whatever it is, it'll be something I think will be information based, where the government is going to say, "Yep, we can use this as our standard," and the people are also going to use it. So the government has to have both sides agreeing to use it.
I look at it now and I'm like, if I just had to guess, then it's completely a guess, that Bitcoin is like MySpace and we're waiting for Facebook. Like it's got the right idea. There's a good bit of people using it. Everybody knows what the hell it is, but like it hasn't become like the household use of every single person.
Exactly.
Right? Like MySpace had like everybody from like 20 and under, and it was like cool. It was like this thing we were exploring. And then Facebook was like everybody and your grandmother's grandmother is in this, on it. So like that thing, yeah, you're right, hasn't come up yet. But it looks like, when you have, I think, scenarios like we have right now, the need for it, it's propelled, expedited to become, there's a huge demand for that object right now. Have you found that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, like that's a modern day literal figurative gold hunt.
The oil, the striking oil, whatever that next thing. I think, as a society, I think we're there because all of our governments, nobody's got faith in the government. We're all just saying, whatever, you're saying it's worth this much, but I don't believe you. And we're also saying I'm too scared to go to crypto yet, right? So there's this gap right now, like a need to be filled between governments, civilians, and basically countries, right? I think everyone's kind of wanting to get onto, I shouldn't say wanting, but everybody's looking for the global currency. Like everyone's already I do business with people all over Europe, and it's a giant pain in the butt with the currency conversions. So as business grows, it's just like everybody's just looking for a simpler. I want to know whatever $1 means. I want to know what that is. I think
everybody's gonna want to know this $1 is equal to this to you over in China, over in Europe, over in here, and that would be great. I think the implications though of pulling that off. I mean, first of all, the powers that be you will have massive wars to get control of that, right? Because that's everything. That's all the wealth that like the biggest families in the world have put together, probably. And to say that one of them is going to control it, I don't know if it becomes like a consortium or a conglomerate, but that's a possibility, right? So, it sounds simpler on the surface. You just wonder, like logistically, what would have to happen to the world. And it's like anything else. It would just create imbalances where you did not think they were going to be created, and you have to kind of, I guess, deal with it. And balances and things, imbalance is good and bad. It'll create massive poverty, massive wealth distribution until it's like kind of reined in. But I don't know. It's a different conversation. But now that we're moving away from COVID, right? Because the world's opening back up and everybody's, hopefully getting back to normal at some point.
I mean, I know we're probably about to wrap up, but I just got to say, selfishly, I have been loving it the last few weeks outside. I mean, I was just out doing, I did acupuncture with my wife. We went for a nice walk at the Hoboken Park. There's nobody there. When grocery shopping, there's nobody. You just get in and the people who work there are just like, how can I help you? It's just like, I can get used to this. This isn't bad.
A world catered to you.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, it's a very personal world. And there's no traffic. I found parking right away. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm saying you could have that world if you just move like an hour and a half west. That's the world. That's the world that exists for everyone.
I guess to wrap it back to real estate, I think there are people realizing that right now who are near New York City, such as myself, thinking we're getting the hell out of here.
I don't need all this hustle and bustle. Like, I don't want it. It's like, what's it worth? Nothing. I mean, it's cool. Honestly, I think it's like an age thing too. Like 30 and under probably doesn't bother you or does draw you into it. Like one or the other, you like that. But as you get like over 30, you're just like, what the hell, man? Like, I don't know. You change, right? You just change. But, all right, so I don't know. Maybe Melissa will jump back on at another point, but I know today's obviously not going to work. Even though she's going to have a title named Melissa Greer I'll have to change the title or something. But So we got tomorrow. So Jason is coming on tomorrow, and he's that multifamily world.
Yeah. He's the North Jersey multifamily. He actually invests throughout the country, but I definitely want to hear his side of things. What's going on with the multifamily market? Like rent rolls, things like that. He's looking at cap rates, all those types of numbers, which is outside of what we look at. So
he'll be very familiar with Cam Weller that we had on the other day, and
right.
He'll be familiar with Gold Dollar. They're all in that space and probably competing pretty frequently. So, all right, so that'll be a good one for tomorrow. But anything else on your end?
Good here. See you tomorrow.
All right, see you.